And as we kind of move things around here, you can see, and it's dark, ominous, saying what we're on the lookout for is any type of little brief spin up. That's the biggest concern. That's why we got that tornado warning. But right here is a pretty ominous view, Eric. Look at that.
Yeah.
You can see right the kind of up into the storm.
Yeah, and once that moves over, you'll get into those rain shafts. We'll go to the I-74 bridge. We have another viewpoint right now from the I-74 bridge cam, and thankfully there's not a whole lot of people on the road.
Let's go back to Max 1.
But yeah, you can see people
dust
out
right
and
there
about.
getting picked up.
What's that?
Right
good
here. Old dust right underneath this.
And this is that kind of industrial corner there on the Mississippi River in northwest Rock Island. That's a really good indicator of where the leading edge of the wind is. Every time a storm comes through and there's a lot of wind, all the dust from these areas right here starts to get taken up into the sky. And it looks like our visibility is dropping there a little bit. So, excuse me, I'm going to go over and take a look at this monitor a lot more closely. Yeah, well, there's rain certainly starting to move into the area. It's probably just past I-280 over the Mississippi, passing Credit Island, certainly past Enchanted Island. You can see the wind starting to pick up, maybe a little bit of water off top there. But all the industrial areas of West Davenport and Rock Island are starting to let go of the dust now that the winds are picking up. And yeah, it's kind of like the arrival of, I hate to say Independence Day, but look at this thing. I mean, there you see, here it comes to the Metro Quad Cities, and with it, let's just look out for what we can expect. And it's going to be anything from wind to heavy rain. Not noticing a lot of lightning here, interestingly.
Is this person outside on the live shot?
This is our front, and you can see that it's.
Oh, okay.
I keep trying to point at that, but I can't. It's over that. There we go. It's over us now here at the station, and the winds are now starting to pick up. That was a little bit of a gentle breeze earlier, but now the trees are getting a little bit more active as this moves on in, and you can see your lighting is going to start to change as well. Now we've got the Centennial Bridge lit from the east, because over here where the sun is, and there's no light coming in. So let's go back to, if we can, radar, Kyle, so we can kind of track where everything actually is in terms of the leading edge of the rain, which I'm sure is now into West Davenport and portions of southern Scott and northern Rock Island County. Yes, indeed, we are now getting that rain past the I-280 bridge. There's toward Andalusia. Is that a new, same warning as
Same
before?
warning, yeah. We just trimmed back that tornado warning, and they just continue with that. The same note there that we got to watch this for the potential for these spin-up tornadoes all along this line.
But I will say, look at the radar signature. I mean, it does seem to be breaking up quite a bit, so we're not getting those consolidated areas of strong winds. Certainly still picking up some winds here, but you know, this is what we were talking about a little bit before. Maybe it's had most of its life cycle. Maybe it's weakening a little bit, not to put any of our concerns to bed here, but as you can see, where we had the solid reds here a little bit earlier, things are starting to break up a little bit now. Hopefully, maybe this is just pushing out its last rush of wind. And from here on out, maybe we're just going to be dealing with severe thunderstorm warnings as opposed to tornado warnings, or even severe thunderstorm warnings with tornado possible. But right now, you can see that we've got the wind coming on in. Let's go to our weather deck camera if we can. And there you can see another viewpoint of downtown Davenport, the trees in the foreground. And there it is, the leading edge now of the mothership, if you will, dropping south of the Metro Quad Cities, or at least into the southern Metro Quad Cities. And here comes the rain. I've noticed that on our sky view shot. And this will probably get to the point where we start losing western visibility here pretty quickly. So, yeah, storms coming in now. Again, we are still officially under a tornado warning. However, based upon the radar appearance, hopefully this main burst of the storm, which I'm going to call it because it's been that way since west of Iowa City, it might start to be getting a little bit ragged to the point where it's kind of blowing itself out. But there you can see the visibility dropping as now we're here getting what will be some moderate to heavy rain for an hour or so.
Yeah, I'm going to take it back on to radar as we're going to lose visibility with that rain just moving in. And as we switch over here, give us 1 second. It is loading up some new data. There we go. We continue with that tornado warning. This storm is now into the metro. So leading edge of this continues to be a concern. According to the National Weather Service, they continue with this. Those pockets of circulation is why we continue with that tornado warning. But right there, there's the time of arrivals. Now, Quad Cities, I think that's Bettendorf that is picking up where it says Quad Cities. I'm going to scoot this just a little bit to the east, just to kind of take into consideration maybe a little delay in data. But Moline, it's right about to you. And as we hit the 7 o'clock hour, we just always like to make sure you know that you're watching severe weather coverage here on KWQC TV6 News. Geneseo, it'll start making its way into the portions of our Illinois counties. We got a new warning. So Geneseo about 7:30. So pretty expansive warning on this new destructive severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, and again, it looks like the more consolidated radar echoes are to the south now, as this one that's been coming through the tornado warning looks like it's getting a little bit more ragged. But again, let me stress, let's not take away from our concern. Let's quickly go outside. Here we go. Our weather deck shot is showing us the weather, which is now increasingly windy across the Metro Quad cities, and anywhere where that shelf cloud has passed by, this is what you can expect. It's going to get rather gusty, enough to even shake our camera out there, which is pretty solid, I must say. But you can see it bouncing up and down a little bit. We'll go back to radar because we're now taking a north-south look. Let's do that, Kyle. First of all, our tornado possible severe thunderstorm warning. That's still the tornado
warning. Yep.
Yeah, that's here. Tornado warning in portions of Jackson County continues, along with the severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible. Also, the tornado warning here for now, it's been cut back to just Clinton and Scott County till 7:15. Not a long way for this to go. We'll see what happens. So far, they've been extending this to the east with severe thunderstorm warnings tagged tornado possible. That you can see here that goes into Whiteside and Henry County. But now this counting the southern end of the storm here, or considering the southern end of the storm, this new severe thunderstorm warning that includes much of Henry County, Illinois, a lot of Mercer County, Illinois, and extreme northern portions of Henderson and Warren County. That warning, I would suspect, probably goes till 7:30 or 7:45 based on how far east it is. And again, you can see we've got that little push now of strong winds from New Boston up to the Mississippi River, just around and west of Andalusia, probably right around Loud Thunder. This will come in through the area and again kick up the winds, drop some heavy rains, perhaps a little bit of flooding. And we are seeing that this line of heavy rain is being followed up by flash flood warnings, and we have those for Cedar County, also back to Johnson County and Washington County, getting into western Louisa County here. And considering where the heavy rain in Louisa County is tracked through, probably around Columbus Junction, points around there on the Iowa River, starting to see some drainage take place, but just not even considering the rivers, just considering low-lying areas, anywhere you are, not necessarily associated with the river, that's where you could see flooding, because we are under a flood watch over much of the area through very early tomorrow morning. All right, here's I-74 eastbound, and this is looking into Illinois. There's Illinois. Here's of course, the I-74. Oh no, this is I think that's the aisle there. So this would be looking actually to the north. Into Iowa, but you can see the river making a little noise here with the strong winds, and traffic moving okay for those who have decided to get out in this weather. I know sometimes there are places where you need to be. Here's another look at some wet roads around the area.
That middle road one's about to get hit there.
Yeah, okay, that's going to be the next, because we've already seen the shelf cloud pass through Moline and 7th Avenue, also I-74 and I-80 by the casino in North Davenport. 280 at Rock Island, that was hit first, and it's still raining pretty good there. So again, these are pretty solid cameras, so even in very strong winds, they don't move much. But that's a look at the situation we have from our electronic eyes, I would say.
Yes, and
oh boy, here we can hear the rain now in the studio. Just started to hear it. I guess because I shut up.
Well, this is now moving in, and it does look like there is some sort of power outage, which is to be expected, because we saw I saw a big section of lights there in the west end that went out. So we'll be checking on those, but rotation.
Morgan's looking at that, and right now she's saying things are
rotation
okay.
Over Middle Road and I-80 has been reported right now. This is from the National Weather Service, rotation over I-80 and Middle Road. Let's go. I'll go back to radar here.
So that's by the TBK complex.
Yes. So that is, we continue with that tornado warning, folks. Okay.
So that would be the leading edge right here, and there you can see
I-74 Middle Road. We were just on that camera too.
Yeah, right. Well, that was Middle Road, and it was I-74. That was ice. Okay, all right. I'm thinking I-80, and okay, you said 74 in Middle.
74
Okay.
and Middle Road.
All right, so that might be the, again, you're just behind the leading edge of that shelf cloud.
I'm going to go back to that here.
I'm sorry, of course, it's I-80 in Middle Road, which is TBK, but Middle Road and I-74, there you go. Not seeing anything reflected on the ground, but of course, it's not a great camera angle because it's pointed down.
Go back to radar and
let's go back
apart. Okay. So there we go. So Middle Road, I'll get the...
Not much of a reflectivity reflection there.
Well, and this is, we're so close to that radar site. Yeah, we know we know there's something there, but
and sometimes when those clouds move in, it might look like there's some rotation. It isn't always, just because the winds are so chaotic. They can turn the cloud bases around a little bit. But let's go to weather deck now that we've got the really heavy rain here in the downtown Quad Cities. There you can see, or downtown Davenport. Yeah, a lot of wind that we're dealing with. Wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to go home to an old tree that every time the wind blows about 40 miles per hour, I've got a lawn full of branches, and I'm sure that's going to happen tonight. Because look at how these trees are just, they're victims of the wind right now. Don't worry about that. That's just rain water coming off the top of our camera housing. That's not something strange in the atmosphere. That's just a raindrop in the foreground. But yeah, past the downtown Davenport buildings, it's kind of hard to see things. And even those are getting a little bit foggy right now with the heavy rain that we're getting. Still looking for maybe some rotation around I-74 and Middle Road right there, which certainly is possible. But right now, as we look at our tornado warning that still encompasses extreme eastern Scott County, this, of course, would take us to Pleasant Valley and LeClaire, adjacent areas of the Mississippi River. That's what's left of our tornado warning that goes till 7:15 for these areas. And again, it's pretty strong outflow here with the heavier rain. There's a little inflow notch there, probably just north of Highway 30. That would look to be a little north and west of Lowmore, west of Elvira, out in the rural areas there. I've had the sports car up in there. You can see for miles, but they're probably not seeing for miles right now with that heavy rain. Dropping a little farther south down that line. Again, it gets a little bit disheveled through the Metro Quad cities and drops south. Here, there's still the threat of some stronger winds. That's why we have that severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible for southern Henry County, northern Henderson and Warren County, and eastern Mercer County, along with portions of southern Rock Island County as well.
I'll put a path on this, Eric. The one thing that we do want to mention too is as this line crosses the river, it is notably going into less favorable environment. If you were with us, we had that level 3 that went right up to the river. Well, once you get east of the river, the dynamics just aren't as great. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be severe weather. We still certainly, as we're seeing now, this latest warning takes it all the way into all the eastern counties with the exception of Bureau County. So we got to watch. This still is got some energy and got time to go. But the one thing too that we got to watch is this particular area up here that's getting closer and closer to Clinton. If you're in Clinton, I'd go ahead and start, I'd take your tornado precautions. You're not under a warning technically, but what we're noticing here is that the leading edge of this is the area, I think, just to the west of Clinton there too, kind of on the eastern fringe of this tornado warning, Eric. That is another notch that's forming, noticing a little circulation there too. Clinton, shelter now, take your tornado precautions.
Yeah, let's zoom into that because I want to see relative to, say, Lowmore and Elvira, where that is. It's north of Highway 30, obviously, but there's Lowmore. Elvira should be right there at the cross, and it's just to the northwest of Elvira. So obviously areas here start to, should be taking shelter right now. And right down the road that goes from Elvira into Clinton, there's Goose Lake up there. There's 136. Yeah, these areas, you're not, as Kyle mentioned, in the tornado warning itself. West of Clinton, a lot of rural area here. Be ready to take shelter because, again, here's a little, what we call, it's pretty easy to see. Why do we call it an inflow notch? Well, first of all, you would expect this line to be rather solid, but we get these little notches, and that's inflow, and that tends to rotate. That tends to cause small tornadoes. So this is moving through eastern Clinton County now, and that's why we would suggest that you take shelter. We just showed you in relation to Elvira, it's north and west of Elvira out there in the rural areas. But again, worth noting and worth taking shelter for the time being. I-74 Bridge Camp again, where things are getting, this is what's been passing through the downtown Davenport area. area on our cameras. Now we can not even see across the river here from Moline to Bettendorf on Interstate 74. Intense rainfall that could be at times falling 2 inches per hour. That could be the potential rainfall rate. So that's going to cause some hydroplaning. If you have to be somewhere, by gosh, forget about, use for a moment here, consider that the speed limit is the limit. Maybe you go 10, 15, 20 under. I mean, if you have to be out in conditions like this with the intense rainfall, if you're driving through that, hydroplaning can easily take place. And, remember when the I-74 bridge especially, because we're looking at it, remember back when it first opened up, they had some issues with hydroplaning. They fixed those, but there might be some of those that can still pop up in the kind of rain that we're getting tonight. So if you have to go anywhere, take a look at your QC weather app. If you haven't downloaded that already, it's free. Look at the radar, kind of plan your path based on where these storms are going, and they're all going into Illinois. But if you're behind them in Iowa, look at where the flood warnings are, the flash flood warnings are. Consider your route. Are you going through any low roads or near any rivers or streams that might be overflowing right now? Keep all that in mind. I mean, you're literally going to have to make a flight plan for tonight. Consider your route, consider everything around it just to stay safe. And we're trying to keep everybody here safe as we've got to these tornadoes possible along the leading edge here of these that line of storms.
And I'm going to just do this here, Eric, doesn't mean everybody in this path is going to have a severe or tornadic storm, but you're going to get into some very heavy rain because the new issue that we're seeing here is lots of flash flooding. We've got a lot of flash flood warnings out in place from north to south here. So we start off here, and that's an interesting, that little vortex there into Clinton County. We got to continue to watch that, but flash flood warning for northwestern portions of Jackson, Dubuque County, getting into Cedar County, down to the south here, a little portion of Louisa County. So on top of the potential for maybe some circulation and of course damaging to at times maybe considerable damage being done by the damaging winds, the flooding is going to be a concern. These are very efficient rain producers. There's a lot of moisture for these to work with. So you don't want to be out and about tonight because we've got that issue where you could see standing water on the roadways. That is certainly a concern. So if we could take, let's take radar full here. I want to kind of go down the line here to all the warnings that we have from north to south. So we're going to start up here to the north. The good news is that tornado warning for Dubuque County was allowed to expire. So we don't have any warning currently in Jackson County and Dubuque County. We now just have that flash flood warning that is going to be a concern. Let's take a look here and see. There really isn't much in the way of any type of circulation up there, but we could still see some damaging to maybe at times severe damaging winds. We go to the south here. And we'll look in Clinton County, where there is no warning at this time here for at least the Clinton area. But the one thing, Eric, I've noticed is these winds seem to be weakening pretty rapidly.
That's what I've been noticing too.
And that's a great thing. And it kind of goes with what I said just a little bit ago, where as these storms progressed across the river, the dynamics were definitely a lot weaker. But we continue with these warnings here. Mercer County, Henry County, Rock Island County, and portions of Whiteside County. But I'm going to say this, at this point, I'm not seeing anything that looks to be tornadic or even at this point, severe levels.
Yeah, so what we're going to do, why don't you go through those again from north to south with the query so we can get the times on there?
Absolutely.
And then toss it, well, why don't you just, I'll be here, you just do that.
We'll start off here to the north with that flash flood warning.
Yeah, and again, watch out for those flash flood warnings. And again, if you don't have your QC weather app downloaded, please do it now or follow along with the website. I tell you what we're going to do in a second here. We're going to get you back to AGT. We're going to cover the commercial breaks with anything that we get that's late. So here you go. Till 7:30, we have this warning for Clinton County, Iowa, also Scott County, Iowa, but Henry, Rock Island, and Whiteside County, Illinois. This is a severe thunderstorm. Tornado possible? Yes, but what's the area that we're looking at? It's the leading edge. It's getting more ragged. Tornado chances are dropping. We do go farther south now, and we look at this severe thunderstorm warning here for Henderson, Henry, Louisa, Mercer, Rock Island, and Warren County, all in Illinois. This one goes till 7:45. Tornado tornado possible? Yes, but the leading edge starting to get more ragged. Tornado chances are dropping. We go to southeast Iowa. No warning here, but that's a heck of a lot of torrential rain. That's going to be moving through Des Moines County. No rotation, good thing. And then it gets into Henderson and perhaps southern Warren County. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to get you back to AGT. I know it's a big night, but we still have some active weather here. So you'll see us during the commercial breaks with all the live updates and the latest on what's moving through the QCA tonight. Thankfully, at this point, knock on wood, things look like they are weakening. We'll be back during the commercial breaks.
For the last hour, that 8 o'clock is your prime time. And then those of you watching with the bunny ears there from Lee County on the Illinois side of the river, Dixon, we're talking 8:15 for an arrival to you. And that's a pretty impressive kind of wind field there on the velocity scan.
I was going to say, even in our household, we still have those bunny ears just in case, we always want to get that good signal, They always come in handy, even though we've had them for so many years now. They still come in handy, especially in these situations. So no question that is something that is a concern with those winds, and we're only saying that to you folks because of what we are actually noticing on the radar itself. Hopefully, Andrew, you get a chance because you're the wizard when it comes to all these cameras that we have across the area. I know that we have one over in Sterling Rock Falls, I believe.
We do, yes.
We're right at the airport, at the Whiteside Airport, I believe.
Yeah, let's see if I can pull that up. I might be able to. There it is. Yeah, we've got some interesting cloud formations there in the sky. It's kind of hard to say. Maybe some mammatus mixed in there?
Because we saw a little bit of that just outside our station here as that storm was approaching. So right now it's all quiet over in Sterling Rock Falls right now. It had been a really nice warm summer day across the area, and early this evening has been pretty nice as well. But those storms are not too far away. You've probably been hearing in some of our hometowns in Whiteside County, some of the sirens that may be going off, just giving you a heads up of what's been taking place. And speaking of Whiteside County, this is out of Prophetstown, Illinois, and as Andrew showed you on the radar, that bending of the line itself indicating some indications of maybe some strong winds taking place. Oh, that's a great shot that we see here with the growing cumulus that we're noticing right here, and likely within there a nice little shelf cloud is going on. You can see the kind of the darkening skies just below that, and that's certainly a sign of those that very heavy rain that is actually taking place, and the winds that may be taking place as well within that particular line, Andrew.
Yeah, and there you see Bridgepoint again. We've got the visibility back too. By the way, when we're talking about mammatus, that's a sign of instability. Anytime we talk about mammatus clouds, that means we've got some really good storm energy sitting out there that these storms can work with. So a little educational piece there for you. Rain's starting to lighten up here in the immediate Quad Cities, but as you head further to the east, that's where we're still seeing that surge in the winds. In fact, the most impressive winds right now are just east of Princeton. Iowa and Comanche, getting into the Clinton area, very strong wind field, getting ready to move there. So kind of also keeping an eye on the Clinton camera too, because that's one of the stronger areas of wind that I'm seeing on some of the radar data. I'm looking at that live right now on our weather computer, and there's another live shot too of Interstate 80, by the way. That's near Northwest Boulevard. Looks like visibility is improving there as the heaviest rain is pulling out of the region. But yeah, keeping an eye on this shot. This again is Clinton, just moments away from that good rush of wind that's going to be moving through. And you can see the darkness to the surrounding there in that live camera focused on the Mississippi River. So if you're in Clinton, you're under this severe thunderstorm warning. That includes the tornado possible tag. Make sure that you're staying away from windows as this rolls on through. It's just about right on top of you. And you might actually see that starting now. Yeah, you see the rain, the sheets of rain starting to really pick up as that's moving through. So good rush of wind. Really heavy rain in Clinton right now with that warning.
Once again, we'll probably stay on the air for maybe another 5 more minutes or so, but certainly any additional updates, we will certainly let you know here on News 8. Certainly got some nice information from even some spotters out there. One in particular, Justin Cardamon, he was right there in Bettendorf, right next to the I-74 bridge, and from his wind gauge that he has on his storm chasing vehicle, estimated around 52 miles an hour when those storms made its way through. The structure on the radar indicated by our friends at the National Weather Service showing that bending, moving it off to the north and east, but but showing signs of maybe weakening a little bit. Clinton at the airport actually had that part of that Boeing make his way across the airport itself and recorded a 44-mile-an-hour wind gust. So we may be seeing that weakening stage of this line as it makes its way off to the north and east. But given the heavy rain that may be going on and just enough of that wind, that could cause some brief power outages as well. And that's why we're thinking about maybe just going back to our network here in just less than 5 minutes or so. But I'll stress again, if there are any more additional warnings that do pop up, especially any type of upgrades when it comes to these two warnings or a few warnings that we see here, then we will certainly interrupt our programming and certainly give you that information. Of course, you can get all that information on our Storm Track 8 weather app, folks. I can't stress enough how important this tool is because you can be interactive with it. You can spot those warnings that will come up on your county, in your town, just by the Storm Track 8 weather app. So a fantastic tool we have. We always get some great comments from viewers saying it is so nice that we have this app with us during these situations. It's always a nice tool, especially if we're not able to watch it in our living rooms on the TV when you're giving us all this information. So it certainly is a great app to have when you're dealing with extreme conditions going on. Here is a shot of the TPC at Deer Run right there in front of the clubhouse itself. Certainly had its fair share of some rain. Looks like the visibility actually looking pretty good out there too, Andrew.
Yeah, that's not looking too bad there right now. It looks like we got a good drenching, though. That sidewalk is soaked. Definitely some rainfall in there. If we can go back to Max for a minute, kind of Clinton now, as you said, James, in the thick of it, you should see the visibility that has dropped here along the Mississippi River. That rain is just pouring down in sheets right now. So it's in Clinton now. 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, I think you said, was being observed. Yep. That's what I'm seeing on radar, too. Velocity is generally between 35 and 45 miles an hour. So that's good that the wind speeds are trending down.
Right,
as we're
and
going
so that's a sure sign, and even the guys at the National Weather Service are certainly agreeing with that as well, that the line itself is kind of weakening a little bit, but still getting those warnings out just to let everyone know that those storms are approaching. John Diaz has some information for us. John?
Yeah, just a quick update on power outages. We've been talking about those a lot. To our south and west have improved, but we just saw the number in the Quad Cities, both sides of the river, pop up to 700 customers without power, and that happened just within the last few minutes. A lot of those in Rock Island County, about 300 in Moline, some in Mercer County. So this, obviously kind of some of these warnings are fading away, but it's still packing a punch, and we're still seeing the impact right here in the Quad Cities.
Yeah, thank you very much, John, on that. That's something that we're really concerned about with all these reports of these strong, intense winds that we would probably see some power outages take place, though brief, and we hopefully see that trend continue on as we make our way the next hour or so. As far as the ballpark is concerned, visibility looking a lot better. Still, we got some rain that's still going on. That is not going to let up. As you can see, the tail end of that rain is still far off to our west from around Ottumwa all the way to Cedar Rapids. All that still needs to make its way through here. But the good news here is at least we're getting some indications that the more intense winds are kind of letting up a little bit, maybe either close to or just below severe limits, close below damaging wind threat that we see here. So this is a line that we're noticing right here. You're going to get a good rush of wind with the storms passing on through. Andrew, real quick here before we go back to network, just south of Aledo, let's go back to this one right here. There could be a new warning that may pop up with that bend in the clouds here. Just an indication of some strong winds that also are coming down from the storm. So we could get maybe a little bit of another polygon that could pop up around Aquaka, Little York, and even around Monmouth, but nothing that's causing anything too intense to cause that damage. But we're just letting you know how that is tracking. So from Aledo all the way down to Woodhall, going in the next, I would say 45 minutes or so, that's what we're going to keep an eye on with that line as it makes its way off to the east. Simply a heads up, folks, as that line continues to make its way off toward the east itself. So what we're going to do here is Andrew and I will hunker down here for a little bit in case any more additional warnings or any upgrades that may take place within this line as it continues to make its way off to the east. Of course, you can get some more information too on our webpage at WQAD.com.